Today I'm in London, my hometown, and it's a holiday for me, so I'm going to take a break from my usual English grammar videos and talk about something completely different. Now, as I said, I'm an English teacher and I'm currently teaching in France, but I've taught in many different places, and what I find surprising is the extraordinary things that people say about London and the UK that have no basis in reality. So today, forget the myths, leave your stereotypes and your umbrellas behind you, because we're going to look at 9 cliches about London that are not true. That's coming up. Okay, let's start with the weather. Does it always rain in London? This is something I hear every day. And with an average rainfall of 557 millilitres per year, London rains considerably less than the European average. Less than Paris, less than Nice, less than Barcelona, less than Rome, less than Italy, less than Milan in Italy, less than Amsterdam, less than Istanbul, and less than New York and Miami. Yes, it's true that some cities in the UK it does rain a lot, such as Glasgow and Manchester, and it does rain more than Madrid and Athens, but otherwise it's a cliche. It's not true. So they say that London is a very expensive city, but this is only partly true. According to the Economist Intelligent Unit's Worldwide Cost of Living Survey, London was the 30th most expensive city in the world in 2018. Less than Singapore, number 1, less than Paris, number 2, less than Zurich, less than Hong Kong, less than Tel Aviv, and less than Sydney, Australia. And if you are visiting London, you'll find that lots of things are free. The national museums are free. The parks are free, and London is 1/3 green space. So there is a lot to hold your attention without flashing the cash. Watching TV in France, you get the impression that every British person loves the royal family and stands to attention and sings God Save the Queen before going to bed each night. Now, it's true that the majority of people in the UK would keep the royal family, but there is a large minority, especially in London, who would either prefer to have a republic. I mean, do we really need an unelected head of state who only got the job through the accident of birth, or they just don't care? Okay. Anyway, I remember once walking through the celebrations for a royal event in London, and there were big crowds, but I noticed that most of them were tourists, and the few English people that were there were not from London. Anyway, there were probably some, but not so many. Another cliche here is that the food in London is terrible. In France, they think that British people just eat fish and chips and roast beef and jelly all the time. But if you've ever spent time in London with your eyes open, you'll know that the food is amazing. Yes, it's true that in the past, English cuisine wasn't the best, but now it's being reinvented and it's being made in new and exciting ways. And of course, London is one of the most vibrant international cosmopolitan cities in the world, so you can get amazing food from all over the world. Personally, I like things spicy, Indian, Thai. I've got harissa on my chips, but that's just me. You can find whatever you want. The UK is a tea drinking country? Not true. We are a coffee drinking country, especially in London. Have a look on any high street and you'll see that we are coffee mad. Yes, that's right. It's cafes, not tea houses. And the coffee is good here. A big change from 20 years ago. Since then, there has been a coffee revolution. That rancid, muddy water that they passed for coffee back then has been and gone. And while the coffee's got much better, the tea has got worse. In the old days, we used to make tea in a teapot with loose tea, and nowadays it's just stick a tea bag in a mug and pour boiling water over it. No, that's not coffee. My grandmother would never use tea bags, and I guess I learned it from her. She used to say, tea leaves, like people, need to be free. And it's true. So my tip is use tea leaves. Now, there are always some exceptions, and if you're in London, this place is fantastic for tea. It's called Yum Cha. Now, they say British love queuing, but is that really true? I've lived in France, I've lived in Spain, I've lived in Italy, I've travelled extensively, and in Paris every Sunday morning I queue up at the bakery just like everybody else. And they say in Italy it's the opposite cliche, that nobody respects the queue and it's just chaos. But honestly, between Britain and all those countries, I don't really see any difference. We respect the queue or not respect the queue just like everyone else. Anyway, that's my experience. It's just another cliche. They say that people from London are rude. Is that true? Well, it's partly true. People from South London are rude and unfriendly. But people from North London, people like me, are really nice and friendly. Just don't stand on the left on the escalator on the tube. The London accent is the purest and the most beautiful, and we speak just like the Queen. It's charming and it's easy to understand. Yes, it is beautiful, but I'm afraid it's not the same as the English you learn in the English teaching books. The strong London accent, the Cockney, is very difficult to understand even for Americans and native English speakers from other countries. So, I'm afraid so. But don't worry if you are taking my classes, I will be speaking in standard British English. Know what I mean? Another cliche here is that in London we are anti-European. Well, that's not true. What is true that in the referendum in 2016, the UK as a whole voted to leave the EU, but here in London we resoundingly voted to stay in the EU. So we're pro-European, pro-EU. Well, most of us anyway. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. Did you know there's cliches? And what about your countries? Are there cliches about your country that are not true? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Stay bellow and see you in the next video.